because probably by the time you see this, you are just waking up, unless you're one of those people who work at night. But part of the reason I haven't been on is I've ran into a recent tragedy that happened, and it happened on September 18th, 2020, if I remember correctly. And let's just say I had a family member pass away. In case, it's been a while since you watched my YouTube channel, I lived with this person for a while, trying to help out where I could to kind of give back to all the things he's helped me done. It was a bit bumpy and all that, but I mean, it was things he was teaching me that I should have been taught. Anyways, long story short, he's unfortunately no longer with us, and it's kind of a little bit of a rough situation, but at some point I think I will be moving on. I usually don't let these things get between me and happiness for very long, but still, regardless, when holiday times come around and they're not there for you to spend time with them during the holidays, it does kind of get difficult. Anyways, without further ado, in today's video, I am going to talk about things that honestly shouldn't really happen and really matter in the broad scope of things, because it's kind of bullcrap and childish. But for example, right now, nowadays, in case you haven't been, watching the news or you live under a rock, it's election year, and this year we've got COVID-19, which I think is kind of conspicuous during an election year from the beginning. And not only that, in case, like I said, you haven't been, so I'm going to give you the whole run through. Democrats pushed really hard to have what's called a mail-in ballot, which is prone to fraud, mail-in fraud, and voter fraud, forgeries, and all that crap. And so far, it's all coming out of in the open during this thing, especially now that Biden's winning. We're all starting to do investigations and crap, because at some point Donald Trump was in the lead, Joe Biden was miserably behind, and then within 7 hours after we all went to bed, seeing Trump's in the lead, instead of sorry about that. Anyways, you know, afterward, after we all basically woke up, Donald Trump was no longer in the lead, which at that point in time, it's kind of bullcrap. What the heck happened and all that. Well, evidently, the way that the media tried to explain it, nothing happened. He just got a bunch of mail-in ballots and won the lead, and started, gaining further and further lead in Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, for like a week or two, if I remember correctly, was sitting at like freaking 214 electoral votes, while Joe Biden was like 268, just in a period of 7 hours. So that's why it's kind of conspicuous that all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Joe Biden's in the lead, and he's gonna sit here and bring America back to the way it was. Well, the funny part is, well, how are you gonna do that if, well, now that there was an investigation done that further revealed that there was a glitch. He didn't legitimately freaking get in the lead. A glitch occurred in which the electoral votes were flipped. Why they haven't knocked that off yet and put Donald Trump in the lead is beyond me. But you're not going to just have a glitch and say, oh, hey, let's still count the votes anyways, after they were obviously flipped during the glitch, which Dominion is coming from a foreign company, which obviously doesn't apparently raise red flags for the left and the left-biased media. Anyways, I'm getting off subject. The point is, you ever have that one friend that just sucks the sweet milk of lies from the media and doesn't even understand that he could be lied to, whether the media didn't know a full story or not, and said some things that are a bit outlandish, or they knew entirely? He still chops them up as, oh, nope, these are factually correct. Like, how do you know the factually correct? And then his stupid argument is, well, they're the media. It's their job to be factually right. Well, yeah, it is. But if you don't know the full situation, and it's sometimes apparent when they literally sit there and find trouble on the next bit of sentences they'll be, trying to say next, that's one good way to indication to say, okay, they're not giving us the full story. Why would they have this much trouble if the story is all there and they know what the story is? Long story short, this person believes everything and doesn't even question it. He thinks it's absolute. Well, when you get somebody like me who goes in, sees who they quote, what they quote, and then go and does and see if that's actually true with that person and what that person said, and you find out the opposite of what's actually been said through the media, you've caught them in a lie at that point. Whether they're aware of it or they just didn't have the full story and just added what they think happened. Well, this has happened to be one of those friends who is in a situation where he relies off the government, the media, and, basically all that, and thinks the government and the media wouldn't harm us, which they would, especially if it's to get personal gain. The media and the politicians would all lie to us to get somewhere. I mean, hell, if I was offered $240,000 for my entire station and I get a portion of that, a big portion, a chunk, like say $40,000, at some point you've bought someone's loyalty and mouth. So I mean, it's not too far of a stretch to think someone did that already and pretty much just sat there and said, oh, say this or you don't get this money. Because I mean, think about it. If you're getting paid more than $40,000 instead of $15 an hour, what are you going to take? One, it's $40,000 and all you got to do is tell the public what you're being told to tell the public, and then you get that 40 grand, or you tell them the truth and just stick with the $15 a month and possibly get fired anyways because your whole station is taking that money and you're not. So, they're going to be like, well, he ain't going to sit here and lie to people's face to get this big money. Why should we have him? And then they're going to boot you and say, yep, well, sorry, we picked someone else who would rather lie to people's face and get a large amount of money. Or two, how you also tell they're lying is when they sit there, contradict themselves, or like I said, can't come up with the, next bit of information that's supposedly true and actually happened. They'll sit there and struggle to come up with the answer. Basically, like you're talking to a liar, and all you got to use is minimal freaking tactics to get the lies out, or identify lying signals that someone's lying. It's that simple. But the friend I'm talking about is somebody who literally sat there and texted me this and voice chatted me this through Messenger saying, I'm not going to let what the media says and what you believe and I believe separate our friendship or get in the way of our friendship. Well, 8 hours ago he blocked me because I sat there and said your beliefs are heavily reliant on the media telling you the truth, which isn't always consistently telling the truth. They're more consistent with lying to your face. I have literally factually backed up everything, especially one incident where the media sat there and basically said, Donald Trump, this is what he will do. He will hold himself up and barricade himself in the Oval Office and the White House, withhold the key from Joe Biden if he's ever elected president, which I'm pretty sure at this point we're all screwed and he's going to be elected president anyways, and he's going to forget what he was going to do as president anyways. The point is the media sat here and tried saying that, hey, this is what's going to happen. Donald Trump's going to sit here in the Oval Office, barricade himself in, and deny Joe Biden, president-elect, supposed going to be elected president, Joe Biden, the key to the White House. And going to sit there with a gun in his hands to fight off anybody who's going to try to take the key forcefully from him. Well, that's what the media told him. What actually happened was Donald Trump sat there and said, when the time comes, I will give, at the appropriate time, give Joe Biden the keys to the White House. That would be the right thing to do. Donald Trump himself said this, and he's like, oh, no, he lies. And I'm like, and you think the media don't? The man said it himself that this is what he would do, which is the exact opposite of what the media lied to your face about, and you're going to believe the media over the facts coming straight from the horse's mouth. The person that they are accusing is going to do this. Wow. Yeah, I'm dealing with that person. And this same person promised me that the media, what I believe and have as my opinions, whether it's factually correct or not, is not going to get in the way of our friendship. Look what happens when they sit there and think that, oh, they can handle it. Well, it turns out they didn't. And when I'm telling someone the truth and they claim it's a lie, I don't give up. Let's just say that now. I don't give up until I've either convinced somebody that, hey, this is the truth, here's facts, and they accept it as the truth because obviously I've got my facts straight, and they can't believe it's true, but, you know, obviously the facts are coming straight from the horse's mouth. You know, how else are you gonna sit there and try, else am I gonna sit there and prove it to somebody besides the person that is saying it is what they're gonna do is actually gonna happen? You know what I mean? You can't get much more clearer than that. But, like, instead of that, he's like, oh no, it's a lie, and I'm going to go back on what I promised, and I'm going to block you. Like, okay, yeah. Yep, that's what happened. And he supposedly will sit here and he supposedly sat there and goes, well, you're sitting here and bashing me for my views and beliefs. I'm like, and your views and beliefs are just not views and beliefs. They're just opinions. And what you're told is necessarily right when it's not always right. Like, there's a difference between a view, belief, and an opinion, and just being told and saying that's your belief because, well, you think the media is official all the time and they know what they're talking about and they tell the truth. When no one can truly know the truth when they're reporting something because they've either not gotten the full story or they're deliberately not telling you what happened at the end of the day. So just viewer beware. Like, literally, if you hear a friend, especially when you've known them for years, sit there and say, I'm not going to let media's crap to get in the way of our friendship, or politics to get in the way of our friendship and stuff like that, you should always take it with a grain of salt. Because during an election where there's a big, massive amount of misinformation, lies, you know, mixed with a little bit of truth, and it takes digging to get the truth out, and even then you may not have the complete truth, these friends will turn on you real quick, especially whenever you sit there and you know for a fact that what you know is the truth, and they're sitting there saying the media know the truth and what you know is a lie pretty much. They're just going to turn on you. Like, even the most loyal may even turn on you. I don't know. But I think it's bullcrap in the beginning, because if you look at it, the media, which is a good majority of it, is usually left biased entirely. There's usually, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the entire media is. There's still a neutral or right-wing media, but they're small compared to the majority of the left biased media. Like, I'm not saying like the angels of the neutral and right-wing biased medias are always right. They're always, correct, factually and all that. They can even mess up, okay? And this man mistakenly says that, or mistakenly makes a mistake and says, hey, you said, you think they're angels and all this. Well, no, I didn't say I think that, nor did I say that's the case. The only thing I said is they're more believable, because when we catch them in a lie or something they didn't get the full story on, we call them out on it and they're like, oh yeah, never mind, I guess I did get it wrong. I guess I did not know the full story yet. Let me catch myself before I wreck myself, type thing. Like, our party usually takes responsibility for either not telling the truth or not knowing the full story and telling us what they think is the truth. You know, and the one thing I want to get out of the way real quick about this person, I mean, this is not me really bitching, this is me just saying this is what this person is really like, you know, like, just be aware of him. He literally sits here and thinks that all Democrats are angels. Now, I'm not going to sit there and be him and say, well, he said this. No, he literally does think it. He thinks only good mostly comes of these people, and they're not, their whole entire, you know, mission is not to screw us over. Well, I can point out 5 bills that would have done it, especially to, let's just say, kids that aren't old enough to know what they would be getting themselves into, and I'm going to get in that in just a second. One bill, and this one is the 10-round magazine limit on AR-15s or guns anyways. If it exceeds 10 rounds, you know, it's got criminal penalties to it. Alright, what makes you think a criminal is going to suddenly wake up tomorrow morning and say, you know what, I'm going to get 10-round mags for my illegal AR-15 that's fully automatic, and that, well, will basically make 10 rounds breeze right through my gun with literally just a pull of the trigger and hold it down for 10 seconds. You know, like, again, at the end of the day, they're called criminals by definition because they don't follow the law. That makes them criminals. They don't follow the law. Okay, what makes you think they're going to care if you say, hey, 10-round magazine limit, follow it or go to jail? They're not. They're going to break the law anyways that they may already be breaking in the first place. On top of breaking another law. And another law on top of that. Like breaking inside a house and murdering somebody, and then after that, stealing shit. You really think they're going to care about wanting to make sure they follow the law on 10-round magazine limits? Really? Another one. And this is one I told you I'd get to in a second that involves kids too young to understand what they're getting themselves into. There was a Democrat that introduced a bill. Keep in mind, most of these bills I'm going to line out, most of them were introduced by Democrats. And very few had Republicans voting on them as a yay situation instead of nay. We're going to say that on a bill, and that hits the House, a nay involves a no vote on it, and a yay involves a yes, I will vote for that. Okay? So, again, this bill comes in, and the way the bill states it, they will be lowering the age of consent if the bill is passed and signed into law. The age of consent would be from 18 years old and would be lowered to 14 to 13 years old of age of consent. In other words, that would make it to where a child that is the age of 13 or 14 years old, a consensual adult when it comes to sex. Yes, you heard it right. I read the bill, and that, so far, in my interpretation of reading it, that's exactly what it says. Now, I could be wrong on this. The bill could have been drawn back and reworded and stuff like that as to get passed even further. But essentially, bare bones, that's what that bill pretty much is suggesting is going to be legal. Is instead of it being required to be 18 years old to authorize consent of the individual authorizing consensual sex, from 18 years old lowered to about 13 to 14 years old. Now, in case you didn't realize that, that would basically be making a child legal to consent with another adult, probably much older than them, that yes, I will have sex. Really? Am I missing the fact that most of these bills are from Democrats who this person is saying give them a chance, they could be good people and all this crap? Yeah. Oh well. Anyways, at the end of the day, this is bullcrap. Like, this is bill number 2, bill number 3. And it's the one Joe Biden is trying to introduce. It would basically it's either register your guns or pay incredibly high taxes, incredibly high prices. And let's not forget, each month that you keep owning this weapon, $200 tax on top of that.
Morse Mutual Insurance.
And if
How can we help you? I think we can handle that.
If you live in the state of California or stuff like that, you have to wait an insanely long amount of time in order to, you know, get this gun after a background check that takes an hour and a half to 2 hours maybe. and that it still takes approval for it. So at the end of the day, it's incredibly expensive and tedious to even buy a gun underneath this bill. And let's not forget who introduced this bill. A Democrat, Joe Biden. Joe Biden even claimed, or even said himself on national TV, that he will come after our guns. Because the reporter goes, you said that when you took office, you would be making an executive order going after guns, especially assault weapons. Bingo! You're right if you have an assault weapon, was his reply. On national television, on an interview with presidential candidate Joe Biden. Okay, on national TV. And that pretty much reconfirms that we're not tin hat wearing people that are doomsday preppers saying that the government is going to come for our guns. The government is going to come for our guns. When you literally sat there and seen on the video of the interview of presidential candidate Joe Biden sit there and say that. Okay? On national TV in front of billions of people. Okay? Like, literally. And this is the bill that Joe Biden said would be an executive order of his first days inaugurated as president, after being inaugurated. So, again, you know, most of the people who are sitting here saying, oh, y'all paint Democrats as bad. Well, yeah. They are either not aware of the consequences of the laws they are creating that may, in fact, actually be pure good intentions, which most of the time they're not. They know fully what they are doing. If they can't circumvent the Second Amendment right, they're going to sit there and legislate laws which might as well, at the end of the day, be trying to circumvent the Second Amendment right. Like, they're bad people. You just don't know it because the way they speak makes you believe the misconception that they are trying to do good when they're not. Just read the bills completely 100% through and you would see this. But for tonight, that's all I'm about to say. Like, literally, like, keep your politics to yourself. Keep your opinions about politics, about freaking news media. Because at the end of the day, no matter what your friends say of, I'm not going to let politics get in the way, what the news media lies about, and what your opinions, views, and beliefs are about the situations and stuff like that concerning the news media and politicians, and especially during elections, especially on elections, keep them to yourself. Because your friends at the end of the day will leave you no matter how much they promise you that they are not going to let that get in the way. Unless they truly are your friends and been around all over you through the rough and tough times, and that kind of backs up their, promise. I would say one person in particular, because he's awesome, even though he sees my views the exact same way that the person I'm talking about, who inevitably blocked me, but he respects them. He doesn't try to sit there and tell me I'm wrong. He doesn't try to sit there and say that I'm trying to force it down his throat. I'm not. I state my opinions and I leave them be. The only time I ever go on about it is if, you sit there and say, oh, you're wrong, you're wrong. Really? I go through and do the trouble of confirming from the people that they sit there and quote what they say on, what those people say on, and I go and look and see if that's true or not. And then if it is, I give them credit. If it ain't, well, here we go. We got a problem here. That the fact that media might be lying to your face. But, like I said, keep your opinions about the news medias to yourself, especially during an election, and politics. Because your friendship is worth more than that, and usually religion, politics, and your opinions that are harsh towards something during political views and statements and conversations, it's not worth it. Because if you definitely have a good friend and that's something you think would get in the way of it, don't talk about politics or anything like that around them, because you're going to lose those people. It's inevitable. It's part of it. And unfortunately, it's the left bias media's fault and the right and middle, because they're running out of views. They've got to stay relevant at something. And if it takes being biased to a certain side to do it, They don't care whose friendship or relationships they destroy, for that matter. This is Christian Freeman. If you enjoyed my video, please put a like, comment what you think about this, because I would greatly appreciate it, and share this video, so that way people out there get and see my content, and on top of that, can see what the problems are with life nowadays and what to expect. This is Christian Freeman. You enjoy your nice Thanksgiving and have a happy holiday.